Alright, so my name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and obviously, of course, yet again, we're talking about Scream, the MTV series. This is episode 6 entitled Betrayed. And you know what? I finally figured it out. I finally figured out why I keep watching this show, why I continue to review it each and every week. People like seeing my reviews for this show. People like seeing me rant and rave about this show. So I guess I'm almost willing, or I'm okay with taking one for the team. I'm okay with putting myself through this if people want to hear my thoughts on it. It can't be any other reason, unless I just like to punish myself. This episode, it begins with the last episode ended, where Emma had just had sex with the sheriff's son. Now, I've already talked about how much of a smart main character Emma is, and how likable she is for some of the things that she does. But I find it even more hilarious that not only does she sleep with this guy, who she barely knows, let's be honest. She sleeps with him out in the middle of the woods. But she does that after a sex tape of her gets leaked out for everybody to see. And while she's depressed, while she's upset that everybody has seen her lose her virginity, she's gonna have sex outside? Anyways, we're over that. She convinces this guy to go to Brandon James's house because she wants to face her fears. I didn't even know what her fears were in comparison to Brandon James, unless she still thought that Brandon James could have been the killer. I don't know. I didn't understand why she said that. Maybe I'm an idiot. I know the connection of Brendan James and her mother and all that stuff, but I don't see what that has to do with her fears. Why is she afraid of him? Whatever. So they go there. All of a sudden, the sheriff's son disappears like in thin air. I guess the killer took him that quickly. And then she gets stabbed in the stomach. And I legit, not gonna lie, I cheered. I said yes. I thought they actually was killing Emma right then and here. But no, the killer takes off its mask and you see that it's Emma. So it's a fucking dream. She wakes up. I'm like, oh fuck, come on. Really? Really? A dream sequence of the one person that I want to see get killed? Or you know what? I shouldn't say want to see get killed. But I wouldn't give a shit if they got killed. You gave it to me. You for 2 seconds made me think that you actually had some balls and you were killing off the main character. No, of course not. This show would never do something like that. I understand now, more so than before, the real reason why I don't give a shit about these characters. I mean, the horrible writing doesn't help. I know it's the bad acting, but it's more than just the bad acting. It's the fact that our main characters are so subdued about the situation. I mean, they even said that 4 people have been murdered in this town. Most of these people, they know. Teenagers. But like you see Noah, aka Fake Randy, he's talking to Audrey, and they're just casually talking about who could be the killer. And they're talking about it like it's nothing. Like it's just like, yeah, it's just another day. You know, yeah, you know, this person died, that person died. Who could be the killer? Who could be the suspect? Well, let's make a list. And it could be this person, it could be that person, it could be the teacher, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting there like, anything? Any emotion? Any fear? Any, like, real, legit fear that your life is in danger? Nothing. They're just casually talking about this like they're reading lines. I'm sorry, I'm going to do it again. Let's compare it to the Scream movies. Where if this Noah character is supposed to be Randy, Jamie Kennedy, Look at how Jamie Kennedy was. Just because he was a smart ass type, or he was somebody who's seen a bunch of movies, so he knows the tropes, he knows the rules, he knows what's gonna come next supposedly. He was still freaked out. He was in the video store like, holy fuck, everybody's a suspect. If the cops just watch Prom Night, they save time. They would know who the killer is, and he's freaking out. Like, to him, sure, he's seen a lot of movies, but to him, he recognizes that this is real in their world. And I appreciated acting like that. I appreciated a character taking it that seriously. Even if he's quoting movies left and right, he still takes this seriously. These characters don't. These characters feel like they're in a teen drama, an MTV drama show that just, there's nothing to it. It holds no weight. You don't give a fuck because they don't give a fuck. And maybe I wouldn't be complaining about half the stuff that I'm complaining about if the acting was good, or if the acting was believable. Nothing. So Audrey gets taken in by the cops during class for questioning, and you find out that her DNA was in one of the masks. Now, I know this is going to sound like I'm changing my tune, and I'm just now saying this because of the events of this episode, but I was also feeling this last week. I just neglected to talk about it because there was so much more to talk about last week as far as ranting, complaining. But I'm switching my killer list, and instead of Brooke, I don't think she's the killer now, I'm going to say Audrey's the killer. And no, not just because her DNA was on the mask, even though after this whole situation, just because of the story that Emma tells, now the DNA is going to be thrown out. Like, that evidence is just like, oh, maybe it was tampered with. But before, that was a smoking gun. Okay, fine. So Audrey calls Emma and like begs her to break into her house, steal this flash drive with this video that makes her look really bad. Of course, Emma does it. Her and Noah goes to the house. There's no key, so what does she do? She breaks the window with a rock. I know they had the line of Noah saying, oh, I hope there's no security system. But what if there was? What if there was an alarm system and it went off just then? What then? Well, thank God they didn't, apparently. So Emma takes it. Of course, she looks at it, and it's Audrey being really pissed off, talking about as if she's about to kill Nina right then and there. Now, I know Audrey told Emma that, yeah, that happened, but Rachel talked her down, or she threw her keys out the car, and it stopped her from doing it. I think that story's bullshit. I think that video is actually what the new detective, was saying. That Audrey killed Nina, Rachel knew about it, and was freaking out about it, and maybe was going to say something, and then I think Audrey had Rachel killed. I think Audrey's the killer. I do. I think she's at least one half of the killer. Her and the sheriff's son. I don't know if it makes sense for them two to be together. Let's talk about the reporter, Piper. Fake Gale. Who I just now realize, I thought she looked familiar before, but I'm just now realizing that she was on True Blood. Like the last season or so. Anyways, she goes to Will, Emma's ex-boyfriend, and she wants him to help her get the story, work together, go on her podcast, which I look at her as a reporter, and okay, fine, maybe she can be a reporter. I don't fucking know. But her having a podcast is very unbelievable. She doesn't really have any charisma or personality to her. I can't imagine how her podcast is. Maybe it's like a straight-laced news podcast. Maybe it's not that entertaining or funny. Because I don't buy this character being that way. But we'll get back to that in a minute. Jake. All of these episodes, I've been calling him what's his name, because I couldn't give a fuck what his name was. But here, I actually noticed them saying his name, or I finally heard it, and it retained in my head. Jake is the other guy who is really behind the blackmailing, but he pinned it on Will because he's a dick. He's an asshole. I don't think he's the killer. I know they're trying to make it seem like he's the killer. He's a horrible fucking actor. I'm sorry. The scenes where he's talking to Brooke and he's pretending to care about her, but you know he doesn't really care about her. I think he's really just sneaking his way in to find out what the family secret is and maybe use that to another level of blackmail. Who really knows? Who really gives a shit? Jake is a horrible actor. Like the scene where they went down to check the cooler to see if the father really did kill the mother, but they didn't find anything there. Just the look on his face, the emotionless, again, another actor on the show with no emotion, just the dry delivery of him. Horrible. I cannot believe that these are our lead characters on this fucking show. Sure, I might not give a whole lot of a fuck about Brooke's father and whether or not he killed her mom. I don't really care. But I will say that I do like the fact that there is possibly another killer out there. Because I don't think Brooke's father is the killer. I don't. It would be too fucking random. He's the mayor. Okay. Maybe he did kill her mom. Maybe he did. I don't care. But if he did, it has nothing to do with the kills going on in the high school. It can't. It wouldn't make sense. Why is he killing all the other teenagers? But I don't know. It's just it's a little surprising, I guess, to have like another killer out there or a guy who killed his wife, but it's not connected to the main story. Emma's mom finally tells her the backstory. The long-awaited story about Brendan James and the mom, Daisy, and their connection, about how they were kids, and he used to write love notes to her, and she wrote back, and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Who gives a fuck? This story has so many holes in it. It's ridiculous. So first, we thought that Brendan James was the one who was crazy and killed all these people at prom or whatever dance it was, party it was. And then the cops shot at him to catch him, and we didn't know if he was alive or dead. Now, Emma's mom doesn't think that Brendan James did this. That, somebody else did it? Like, who was she trying to say that did the killing then? Was she trying to say that Emma's father did it? Because if that's what she thinks, then fucking say it. She was so around the bush, not getting to the fucking point, being so vague about the story that it's just like, I don't care. I don't care. If you're not going to tell me, or if you're going to drag this out, I don't care. I don't care. This backstory is not interesting enough to be dragged out for multiple episodes. This fake Jason Voorhees backstory. Okay, so let's get to the very last shot, the very last scene of the episode, where Will gives the money back to Brooke's father, and the tape also claims that this is it, the last copy, it's done. Brooke's father had a gun, and he looked like he was about to kill him until Will said something, whatever the fuck. And the father says, oh, well, remember, there's a killer out there. So I guess that remark was enough for the reporter to think that this is going to accuse him of being the killer. Long story short, the killer does show up. The killer stabs Will, like in the stomach. They both fall down. I guess Piper hits her head, so she's like woozy. Now the killer grabs Will and drags him away. Kidnaps him. But doesn't kill the reporter. Why? Why wouldn't he kill her? Oh, because the script doesn't allow for that to happen? Why would he leave? If you're going to say that his plan is to let Emma know that Will has been kidnapped, well, that's a dumb plan, because this goes beyond just Emma finding out. Piper's a reporter. She's going to leak this out to the fucking world. The risk of this killer getting caught should overshadow whatever plan he has with Emma to kidnap her ex-boyfriend that she supposedly doesn't give a shit about anymore because she had sex and she's making out with the real killer, I think. I think that was the sheriff's son that took him. Whatever. Am I going to say that this episode was worse than last week or even the week before? No, I can't say that because it wasn't as bad. But it was still pretty bad. The acting especially is fucking atrocious. 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 The logic gaps, the plot holes in this backstory with Brendan James, and it's just, it's I give less and less of a fuck about this. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to keep watching. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? Was it better? Was it worse? Like, comment, subscribe. Later.